Now, some of you, huh, what is a curve? Now, some of you are so much advanced in differential geometry, but some of you are right at the bottom. You might not have even heard what is differential geometry about at all. So there may be a mixture of answers. What is a curve? However, as I have told you, please tell me something. Whatever you say, that's a correct answer. Okay. If you don't say, that is a wrong answer. So please say something. And then Devendra is there, right? Devendra?
Yes, sir, he is there.
Yes, I am here, sir.
So you have to sum up. If I can't hear what they are saying, you can repeat that. That's all. Hello?
Yeah, I will repeat
What
if
is
they
a
have
curve?
any questions.
What is a curve is a question. Answers I want.
Curve is a smooth map from Rn to Rn.
It's a map.
Yes, a smooth map from R to Rn.
R to Rn. I see. Okay, that is one thing. Anybody else? There are some 40 people, huh? Hello? Everybody agrees with that?
Ravi Prakash, you tickled, no?
Sir, sorry.
No, please, you have to take initiative if you want to learn. If the whole time is lost in this one waiting for your answer, I don't care. You are the loser. Okay? I will wait.
Sir, smooth curve is a map from open interval of R to R3.
R to R3. Very good. One more definition. Anybody can give you some definition or whatever idea of a curve. What is a curve is I have asked. I am not asking exact definition. Anyway. So what is a curve for you?
It is a path like somewhere.
I can't hear.
Curve is a path without any sharp turns.
Without any?
Sharp turns. Turn means without any sharp point.
I can't
Sharp.
make out what you are saying. You seem to be telling something very important.
Sharp turn, he is saying.
Sir, it is a one-dimensional manifold.
Oh, so you have to know what manifold as well as one dimension, right? Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Then any other example? Any other description? Hello?
Sir, the range space could make to be any space X. I mean, a map from R to X.
R to X. What is X?
X is topological space.
Okay, very good. So any more? Hello? Hello? See, all of you have studied your 12th standard, right? In the 12th standard geometry, what did you study? 10th standard geometry, 9th standard geometry, what did you study? Points and lines, and then what?
Circle, parabola.
Circles, parabola, ellipse. What are they called in general?
Collection of points.
Huh?
It is a locus of a point.
Collection of points. Huh? What are they called? A general
Conic sections.
name for? Huh?
Conic sections.
Conic sections. Yeah. Suppose you have some other kind of graph of a smooth function, graph of some function. What was that called?
Locus of a point constrained to some given property.
Locus of a moving point or whatever, right? It's another thing. Right? But did you call circles, ellipses, etc. as curves or not? when you are driving on a road, there are notices, sharp bend, deep steep curve ahead, go slowly. What is the meaning of the curve there? No answers. See, the word curve in English has some meaning. There must be some, it is not necessary, but there may be some relation between that meaning and the meaning that we are going to attach in mathematics also, right? In general, always it's not necessary, of course, right? So what is this curve? So you see, conic sections, you said. Can you give some examples of conic sections
Like
which you
parabola,
have studied?
parabola, hyperbola.
Parabola, that's a name, sir. How do you describe? I don't know what is a parabola. Somebody may call it a circle. So what is the difference? So you have to give me more better description. I like the names, fine. So how do you describe a circle? So all of them are, traces or track of a moving point, right? With some constraint. That was one of the definition. One of you told me that. What is that kind of constraint? How do you describe that? If a goat is tied up to a pole with a long rope so that it can move around and graze too, so you can think of goat as a point, moving point. It is constrained because it is tied to a pole, right? With a long rope. Is that a restriction? Does it give you a curve?
Yes,
What is the curve?
the circle.
That is the maximum thing which can go around. It can go inside, everything inside also, unfortunately. That is keeping the maximum distance from a single point. The maximum distance will be constant distance from a point. So that is the kind of constraint, right? Now, what is a parabola? How do you describe a parabola? Each time you have to bother your head with all these things. No. Is there different ways of explaining how to explain a curve in general? My purpose is to make you think about such things. Whenever you see a new word, a new topic, okay, what does this could be? Even before opening the book or opening what the person is going to say. Okay, so that is my idea of asking this question. So let me sum up a few of them, whatever answers you have got. Set of points satisfying a quadratic polynomial equation in two variables. That gives you the description of all conic sections. Okay. The graph of a smooth real-ordered function defined on an interval. I thought this was my own example. The graph of some function. Right? Third one, set of points of two equations in three variables. Nobody gave you this one. So these are called what we may call it as level surfaces. There were many more. What many of you said is a function defined on an interval into some space. Okay. So that is what majority of you are telling. So I'm going to stick to that definition and I will make it slightly better. Okay, maybe little more rigorous. That comes to the next topic, namely parameterization of the curve. I am not going to define curve at all because everybody has his own definition, his own concept. It is like 12 blind, people describing an elephant. You have heard about the story, no? So it's like that. For each person, curve, his own concept of a curve may be different. So today we are going to study one such concept, namely parameterized curves. This entire thing you are going to define. Neither parameterized nor curve I am going to define separately. Understand what I am going to do? Okay. So this is the first definition. By a curve or a parameterized curve, we mean a smooth function gamma from J to Rn, where J is some interval in R. When I say interval, a single point is also allowed, but you may try to take, okay, you may excuse me, and you may exclude the single point interval if you like. But for logical reasons, there is no need to exclude it at all. Keep it like this, doesn't matter. Okay. So most of the time, if the interval is a single point, a continuous function, a smooth function, they are all coincide, just one function, whatever function, it will be automatically continuous, smooth, and everything. And that will give you a single point. So it is of very little interest to us. Okay, so let us assume that J is a non-point and single point, not single point interval. It may be closed interval, open interval, half open interval, the whole of real line also. All this is allowed. Okay. Next, one of you said that the codomain could be any topological space. Of course, you all know topology, a lot of topology, because AFS1 is assumed here. I hope you know enough. I am going to use a lot of topology, but right now we are not going to study things inside arbitrary topological spaces. We will restrict ourselves to Euclidean space. Soon we will come down to R3 and R2. You can come down to R also. This n could be anything, 1, 2, 3, anything. N equal to 1, again, this becomes extremely simple, namely the image of this gamma will be again an interval. So there is not much point in discussing this one. We will have an opportunity to discuss that also anyway. So our interesting case starts with n equal to 2, just like in 12th standard. Then we are going to n equal to 3, and then see some beautiful things here. Okay. Any function into Rn is given by n coordinate functions. And that is what I am writing. Gamma t is gamma 1t, gamma 2t, gamma nt, where each gamma I is a real valued function. Okay. Each gamma I is a smooth function, then gamma will be smooth. All right. Any difficulty here?
No, sir.
What is the meaning of smooth word? The smooth. What is the meaning of smooth?
The component of gamma is infinitely differentiable.
The whole thing is infinitely differentiable, which is if and only if each gamma i's are differentiable, coordinate functions. Okay, I don't use the word component, I use the word coordinate functions. Okay, and this dash denotes the first derivative with respect to t. Okay, the variable is t here, gamma prime t, which is got by differentiating each coordinate function. That is called a tangent vector to gamma at the point gamma t. So differentiation has to be taken at the point t. If t equal to at the t you have to take, then gamma t is the point. Okay. Okay, you don't understand what is a tangent vector now, right? So geometry is all hidden now in this definition. You see, geometry, you have to tell what is a tangent to a circle. It is the limiting of all the chords as the 2 points converge to the point itself. Around the point, you are taking 2 points and then take the chords. Limiting case of the chords, that is geometry. But here I have taken analysis. The limit f of t plus h minus ft divided by t divided by h as h tends to 0 is precisely the slope of all these chords and so on. You have seen that thing in the first course in real analysis. So we are taking this tangent vector definition to this one. This is the tangent vector. Okay. So a little bit of real analysis, derivative of real functions, all those things are involved here already. All right. So next definition, if this gamma prime t is a vector, if this is not 0, at some point, then that point gamma t is called a regular point. If this happens to all the points, then the whole curve will be called regular. Okay, there is nothing very hidden in this one. This is just a word regular which is overused. Okay, I am also using this one. You know, regular space, regular ring, regular local ring. Regular word comes almost regularly in mathematics everywhere. All right. Now I want to define what is the meaning of reparameterization. Okay. The reparameterization of a smooth curve like this gamma is a parameterization of this curve. What is the reparameterization? So that is a function from phi from a prime, b prime to ab. This is another interval. I am just taking ab to actually denote j. I want to take this case wherein j is a closed interval. Later on, you can think about it, you can do this one for any interval also. Okay. So I'm taking a shortcut here for curves defined on a closed interval. So take another closed interval, take a bijection. Phi of the first point goes to the first point. The second point goes to the second point. A prime goes to A, B prime goes to B. Such that both phi and phi inverse are smooth. Okay. Then the curve, which is the composite of phi composite phi, gamma composite phi. Look at this one. This phi is a very special curve where n equal to 1 now. Okay. So, and this phi twiddle, gamma twiddle is the composite of gamma composite phi. So gamma composite phi is gamma twiddle. All right. This gamma twiddle is called reparameterization of gamma. If you look at the points here, what is called as image of gamma, they have the same image. The domain of definition has changed. So this is where slowly we are bringing back the old concept of the image of this gamma as being understood as a curve. A circle is set of points like x square plus y square equal to 1 is the unit circle with center at 0, 0, right? That doesn't look like a curve in this sense. It is if you give a parameterization from some interval to R2 such that the image set is precisely x square plus y square equal to 1. Then you can reparameterize some other parameterization that will also give you the same circle, but the two reparameterizations, one parameter is gamma and this one, will be different curves for us. One is obtained by reparameterization of other. If gamma twiddle is obtained from gamma, you can put this phi on this side, gamma twiddle composite phi inverse. That will be gamma. So reparameterization is a symmetric relation. You can also verify that it is transitive relation. Therefore, it is actually equivalence relation. Okay. So ultimately, equivalence classes of parameterized curves. That is a one single curve. This is my approach. It is not anywhere in any standard book. So I am not writing it down. I am telling you what is there in my mind. Okay. So you can take my definition as a curve as an equivalence class of parameterized curves. What is the equivalence relation? Reparameterization. Any questions?
Sir? Sir, if we transform any equation, that is, if it is related to transformation, is circle
What
x
is it?
square plus y square equal to 1. If we transform 0, 0 to AB, then we become, it's transformed to, sorry sir, cannot explain.
You have not yet formed your question correctly. So you are just thinking, doesn't matter. Think about it and come back to me again. Huh? So let me go ahead a little bit now. Notice that. Hello.
Sir, I have a small query. So here we are not distinguishing between a map and the image of the map, right?
No,
For
we are distinguishing. That is the whole
Yes.
point.
Okay.
I will come to that one. Okay. Very easily. For example, cos theta sin theta from 0 to 2 pi. What does it give you? A parameterization of the circle.
Yes, yes. Sir.
Cos 2 theta sin 2 theta from the same 0 to 1. Okay. Interval is 0 to 1. In interval 0 to 2 pi. Cos 2 theta sin 2 theta. What is the image curve?
The same circle.
Same circle. In our definition, these two will be in different equivalence classes. They are not reparameterizations of the same. So they are not related by reparameterization. Check it. Okay.
But sir,
This is very, very important for us. Huh?
T maps to 2T. Isn't that a reparameterization?
E maps to
t maps to 2t,
the domain will change.
yes, sir. Okay, okay.
Okay,
It will show. Yes, yes,
0, 1 to 0, 1 I have given,
yes, sir. Yes.
both of them. So you have to have 0, 1 to 0, 1 and a phi, so that one is phi composite the other. A 0, 1 or 0 to 2 pi, whatever you want to take. If you 0, 1 you have to take, then cos 2 pi t, sin 2 pi t. The other one is cos 4 pi t, sin 4 pi t. Okay, there are many such instances. We will come to that one. Take 0 to infinity. Is that a curve?
By definition, yes.
It is a, every interval itself is a curve.
Yes.
Right? Can you reparameterize that interval?
Yes, yes.
So many ways. They will all not be the same thing. You can describe the same interval in so many ways. Some of them are reparameterization of the same thing, but they are not. For example, take 0 to 1. Interval 0 to 1. T going to t is the curve, is the parameterization. T going to t square. Is it a parameterization?
Yes.
T going to t cube from
Yes.
0, 1 to 0, 1. Is it a parameterization?
Yes.
They will all be different. They are not reparameterization. You can try to prove that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Thank
you
you,
see, I have just given you one definition, but there are so many things to work out now. If you think like this. Okay. T going to t, t going to t square, t going to t cube, they are all different in the equivalence class that I have defined. The image is the same. Okay. Let us go ahead. It is possible to have a smooth homeomorphism whose inverse is not smooth. Okay. Just a simple example, x going to x cube. It's a smooth bijection from R to R. Its inverse is not differentiable at what?
0.
That's why in the definition, we have to say both phi and phi inverse are smooth. Unlike in algebra, wherever you have a bijection, which is a homomorphism, inverse is automatically a homomorphism. If it's a linear map, inverse is a linear map, and so on. Okay? In topology, this is not the case. In differential geometry, in analysis, it is not the case. Except in complex analysis, complex differentiability again has this property. So that is a different story. Okay. So you have to tell phi and phi inverse are both. Okay. So here is another example giving you the same image curve, but a different parameterization, namely tracing the curve in the opposite direction. So what is the meaning of that? It is the following. Suppose AB is your interval, gamma is from AB to Rn, whatever. You can define gamma inverse by this formula, gamma of B plus A minus T. When T equal to A, this will be gamma B. When T equal to B, this will be gamma A. So you get this opposite. Slowly it starts on the end point and comes back to the first point. So this curve is called, this parameterization called the opposite curve or the inverse curve, you can also see that this will not be equivalent to the original curve gamma. Okay. So geometrically, this is the same curve traced in the opposite direction. In the integration theory, this is also used. Minus gamma is also used. This is a notation. This is much more meaningful in the integration theory because whenever integral of gamma is defined of some function, minus of that integral is the same thing as integral over this minus gamma. That is why that notation is there. So people who have studied line integrals in complex analysis or in your calculus course, okay, Green's theorem, Stokes theorem, and so on, they will see that this is the notation there. I am going to use, by the way, I'm going to assume you know Green's theorem, Stokes theorem, and so on. I'm going to use them. Okay. I keep reminding you that this is not a calculus course or this is not just real analysis course. This is differential geometry. This is AFS2, not AFS1. Okay. Now I come to another serious problem. Look at the graph of mod x. If you don't want the whole of R, take -1 to +1. Look at the graph of mod x. You know how to draw mod x, right? Immediately you see that this is not a smooth curve, right? Is it a smooth curve?
No.
You see, that is what you perceive, and you are right. But you have to prove what is not a smooth curve. As soon as I give you a parameterization which is smooth, it will be smooth curve, right? If I can give a parameterization. What you have to describe? This is a subset of R2, right? The graph of mod x is subset of R2. So I have to write gamma from say AB to B, whatever, some interval, to R2, gamma 1, gamma 2. So the entire thing must be a smooth thing, and it should give me precisely the points in the graph of mod x, right? Why this is not possible? The problem is this is a awakening problem. You think that so what I want to say is many concepts you think intuitively correct, you will go wrong. This happened long back when not with mod x, with something else, when Italian geometers, great Italian geometers, were doing everything intuitively. So later on, Zariski came and just laid down the foundations of all these what is called as algebraic geometry. So he brought the force of algebra to make the entire thing rigorous. Okay, intuitively many things are true, but then there will be some case wherein it may not be true. So you have to avoid that case. Then only some things will work. So there will be some funny things which may be happening. So you have to take care of those things also. So intuition is okay, but sometimes it can mislead. So that is what the geometry is full of such pitfalls. Even in school geometry, you had quite often when you construct something by construction, there will be two different ways of constructing, and that will give you two different answers. But you might have chosen only one and think that that is the only way, then you will get a wrong answer because you have left out other possibility. So this kept happening quite often in school geometry in the olden days. Okay, so I can't give you all that now because you might have forgotten many of those things anyway. So right now I want to say that, okay, surprising answer is yes. That mod x is a smooth curve. Then what is wrong? There is some corner there at 0. How do you explain that? Explanation comes, the derivative is 0. Okay? When the derivative is 0, you cannot say that there is no corner. That is the problem. If the derivative is not 0, that means there is a nice tangent there. So that is the meaning of what we attach to the word smooth. So the curve, the line, the whatever you are moving part is not changing its direction immediately in a quick way, in a jump way. It's turning it smoothly, or whatever you want to say. Okay. So this is what you have to verify. I hope this will be further discussed in tutorial class properly. The answer is yes. However, if you have slides, you have already the answer. I have already given you the answer here. Let me go ahead. Carefully chosen parameterizations play a very important role in evaluation of integrals. This is what you have been doing. Substitute t equal to tan theta, x equal to tan theta, and then the integral becomes simpler and you could evaluate it. Haven't you done such things? Substituting square root of t equal to 1.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
That is what reparameterization. That corresponds to reparameterization of the interval on which you are doing the integration. So I don't want to pursue this problem with more examples and so on. That is a waste of time. So I'm just seeing that these things are there in your calculus course. Nobody told you that. There was no need. You have to just substitute correctly so that the given formula works fine. There is no sacrosanct rule that you have to all the time substitute something. Depending upon the integrating integrand, the one function which is getting integrated, you have to choose your parameterization, right? Like this, there are many other problems in geometry, in analysis, in number theory, okay, in so many other things that you converted it to like this geometry. Correct parameterization is the key to solve that problem. I will give you an illustration of this one, which you might not have gone through, or you might have ignored, not from calculus course, but from something else. Okay. A plane curve. What is a plane curve? Hello.
Sir,
Lies in R2.
R2 is a plane curve. It is inside R2, that's all. Not R3, R4, R5. A plane curve, that's the meaning. A plane curve is called rational. This is another word I am going to use. If it can be parameterized by xt, yt, there are only two coordinates where both xt and yt are polynomial functions divided by polynomial functions. P by q, where p and q are both polynomials. Such a thing is called a rational function. Both xt and yt are rational functions of t. Okay. This notion and many related ones are important in number theory and in algebraic geometry. That's why I'm putting this. The famous Euler substitution, x equal to 2t divided t square plus 1, y equal to plus minus t square minus 1, t square plus 1. During Euler's time, you won't call parameterization or reparameterization. You just substitute, he says. What is that? What is this curve? Can you tell me? If you just take x square plus y square, it's going to be 1 always.
Ellipse.
Therefore, as t varies, these points, x is xt, it's a function, it's xt. Y is yt, it's a function, right? So that will give you circle. So this is a parameterization of a circle. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you the whole circle. If you take +1, it will give you one part, namely the upper part of the circle. Minus, if you take, it will give you lower part of the circle. Okay? But part of the circles are given by this. Okay? If you take both of them, it will give you a full circle. All right? So this was due to Euler. And these great people showed us the way to do mathematics. Okay, all mathematics is created by these great people. You know, Newton, Euler, Bernoulli, Gauss. Okay. Later on, other people have all the time worked on problems created by these people. Okay. So an easy computation shows that both x and y are rational numbers now, if and only if t is a rational number. If and only if. Suppose t is rational, suppose -1 to +1, you take a rational number t, then both xt and yt will be rational. And conversely, suppose you are looking for rational coordinate points on the circle. What you have to do? You have to just take t is rational. If you take cos theta, sin theta, you are lost. If you use this parameterization, you immediately get the rational points. If and only if is there, verify it yourself. I won't have time or energy to verify that, okay? If and only if means what? If x is rational, y is rational, you have to show that t is also rational. Rational number. Rational number means what? P by Q, where P and Q are integers. Is that clear what you have to do?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a ready-made answer? One of you who might have already done it. How do you do that? How do you do that? This is 10th standard question, by the way. This proving this one is 10th standard. There is nothing more than that. Okay. Now I come to the deeper aspect of this. The problem of determining rational solutions of equation, this equation, x power n plus y power n equal to 1, which is a very, very old question by Diophantine. It's called Diophantine problem. Rational solution means what? I want both x and y to be rational numbers. How many are there? Are there any? This is the problem. So what we have just done is when n equal to 2, the problem is completely over by Euler. Okay. So what happens when n equal to 3, 4, 5? Can you do the similar thing with as given by Euler? Answer is no. The Euler's thing works only for n equal to 2. Or the point is that you don't need x square plus y square equal to 1. You can take any quadratic equation. In particular, You could have taken any conic section. So let us see how. Okay. The above Euler's example is not just an isolated case. Indeed, this applies to all quadratic plane curves. That means defined by a quadratic equation, which we know that they are all conic sections. So what do? Choose a point x0, y0 on the curve pxy equal to 0, where p is, so I am assuming the quadratic equation is given by rational coefficients. That's important. Huh? You can't choose some e or pi and so on. So all the coefficients must be rational and two variable polynomial. Something like x square plus y square, 5x square plus 10x cube, 10 y square and so on. That is well. Okay. Polynomial of degree 2 is quadratic. That's the meaning in x and y. Let L be the line passing through x0, y0 and having slope t. So you can write down what is this equation. It is y equal to t times x minus x0 plus y0. This is the equation of the curve passing through x0, y0. The equation of the line passing x0, y0, and slope is t. Okay. What do I do with this? The x coordinate of a point of intersection of L and the curve. Take the curve, whatever curve. This is pxy equal to 0. It's given by substituting this equation pxy equal to 0. You see, I am going to how Euler solved this substitution method. You substitute in this one, okay, pxy equal to 0, which is quadratic in x, right? You see, y is replaced by something like this, a linear equation. So y square will become the square of this one. Y will be just like this. So it will be still a quadratic equation, quadratic polynomial, but this time only x will remain. Y has disappeared. So it will be looking like atx squared plus btx plus ct equal to 0, where a, b, c, etc. will depend upon the original polynomial p. Okay, I am substituting this. There is no ambiguity here. But p is something funny. So that depends upon you collect the terms. It will look like atx square plus btx plus ct equal to 0. These are all linear functions in t because what I am substituting is linear function here. Okay. Since x0, y0 is chosen on the curve, if you put x equal to x0 here, sorry, okay, that is one of the roots of this one because it has satisfied x0, y0 equal to this one, right? So y0 is given by this one. When x equal to x0, y0 is y is y0. So if you put x0 here, that will be a solution of this quadratic equation. Okay. Since x0, y0 is chosen on this curve, one of the root of this equation is x equal to x0. If there is another root, because it's a quadratic, if x is the other root, say x, then x0 plus x1 equal to minus beta t, sorry, if x1 I should write here, okay, then minus beta t divided by at, which means that is the way x mod, the sum of these two is equal to the negative of this divided by this one. This is the ordinary quadratic equation properties of roots of the quadratic equation I am assuming. Sum of the roots is equal to minus of bt divided by at, right? So that means what? x1 is minus bt divided by at plus x0, which means x1 is a rational function of t plus x0. If x0 is already a rational number, this will be a rational function of t. Substituting this in one, it follows that y is also a rational function of t automatically. Okay. So once you know one solution, Okay, all that you have to do is t must be a rational number parameter, and then take this curve, okay, take this line. X naught, Y naught is a rational solution on the surface, on the curve. Take this where t is rational. That will give you another solution, another intersection. When you substitute this way, another solution that will be also rational. Okay. So that is the way to find the formula itself. Okay. Did you get how? If you try this method, okay, you try this method, take the curve to be x square plus square equal to 1, you will get back Euler's solution. Okay. Depends upon whether you choose this way, that way, there will be 2 plus minus 1.
Sir,
Okay.
this is just the way we find Pythagorean triplets, right?
Pardon?
So this is just the way we find the Pythagorean triplets.
I can't
Integer-
understand. I can't hear you.
Sir,
Sir, can you-
he's saying that the Pythagorean triplets can get from this approach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In fact, these are the same approach. So
Huh?
these two are same approach, right?
This is all due to Euler. Okay, whichever you want to put. Now, I will tell you why x power n plus y power n cannot be done by this way. Okay. On the other hand, none of the curves x1 power n plus y power n equal to 1 for n greater than or equal to 3, none of this is rational. And that is why Fermat's theorem is very important. It could not be solved so easily. Otherwise, Euler's approach would have solved it. Okay. So why these are not rational? So this is also a nice way here. The method, as you pointed out, that is important. So pay attention to the method here. Okay. So x is pt by rt, y is qt by rt. See, whenever they are rational functions like this, I can choose the denominator to be the common denominator, right? There is no problem. By multiplying all the factors, they are there. So you can assume x and y are of this form, pt by rt and qt by rt. Substitute, clear the denominator and write this equation. X power n becomes p power n plus q power n. 1 becomes r power n. We bring it on this side. P power n plus q power n minus r power n equal to 0. What are PQR? They are polynomial functions in T. So this will be an identity now. For all T, this must be 0. Okay, PQR are functions now. Okay. By cutting down common factors from this equation, we may assume that PQR don't have a common factor, relatively prime. That is the meaning of this one. This is not just number theory. This is inside polynomials. See, suppose this is t minus t naught is a factor of all of them. I will just remove it. That's all. So I will get another equation. Right? In terms of polynomials. But p power n, q power n, and r minus r power n equal to 0. N is greater than or equal to 3 is important here. Okay. Once you have this, you can differentiate because they are polynomials. Differentiate what you get? P prime Pn minus 1, Q prime Qn minus 1 minus R prime Rn minus 1 into n is 0, but n I have cut down. All right. So I have got two equations. First is like this. Second is like this. You can think of this as P into P power n minus 1, Q into Q power n minus 1, minus R into R power n minus 1. Here, same thing, P prime, Q prime, R prime. So, P prime, okay, PQR And P prime, Q prime, R prime are both solutions of system, linear equations, namely interpreted as saying that P power n minus 1, Q power n minus 1 minus R power n minus 1 is a solution of this system of equations. You can say x, y, z, x1, y1, y2, x2, y2, y2 times this one. This is, write it as a column vector here, then multiply equal to 0. So that is the linear system. So this is a solution of this 2 by 3 linear system. Now you use Cramer's rule, 10th standard or 12th standard stuff. If this is the case, Cramer's rule, the solution Pn minus 1 divided by what? This factor, Qr prime minus Rq prime. Q power n minus 1, that y, x, y, z you can think of, Q power n minus 1 solution divided by P R prime, R P prime. So other way around, R P prime first minus P R prime. Similarly, the last one minus R n minus 1 divided by the first factor here, cofactor, which is P Q prime minus R Q prime. These must be same ratio. This is Cramer's rule. Okay. Again, just 12 standard stuff. There is nothing more than that, except differentiating here. That's all I have to do. P, Q, R are relatively prime. Okay. Look at this one. This divided by this one is this divided by this one. You can bring one equation here. Take the numerators, denominators above here. Cross multiply. Okay. The factors in P power n minus 1 cannot go inside that. So they must divide this one. Similarly, factors here must divide that one, because this comes here. Okay, this into this will come, right? Yeah. So P alpha into beta equals to gamma into delta, let's say. Alpha is co-prime to gamma. So all factors must be going inside this one. That is the meaning of this. So P power n minus 1 will divide this one. Q power n minus 1 will divide this. Similarly, this one will divide this one, this one will divide this one, and so on. Okay, so you have three such things here. P power n dividing by this one, Q power n minus 1 dividing this one, R power n dividing this one. Some polynomial is dividing another polynomial. What does that mean? The degree of this will be at least this much, right? Degree must be at least this much, because each time you divide a linear polynomial, the degree keeps coming down. So I am just taking degree of P is A, degree of Q is B, degree of R is C, let us say, because they are arbitrary polynomials, that's all. So A, B, C are the factors. Now what happens? By symmetry, we may assume that this is just for our own computation. One of them is bigger than the other. A greater than equal to B, greater than equal to, order them, interchange P, Q, R, because it's a completely symmetric thing, except for minus sign. If the minus sign occurs here, I can change that one, the whole thing, and write the minus sign to the last one. There is also no problem. Therefore, I can assume A itself is greater than B is greater than C. Okay. Then the first relation in 4 will tell you this is n minus 1 times A, right? The degree of this one is n minus 1 times A. What is the degree of this? Degree of this is B plus C. Okay. This is also B plus C, because this is C, this is B minus 1, sorry, B plus C minus 1. So this is C minus 1 and B. So sum total is B plus C minus 1, and at the most it may go down also. The degree may go down also. N minus P power n minus 1 times A is less than or equal to B plus C minus 1. But B and C are both smaller than A, so this is less than 2A minus 1. Right? So what does that mean? This means that n minus 1 times a is less than 2a minus 1. Is this possible? Where a and b are all integers, remember that. Is it possible? This equation is possible? It is possible for only when n is less than or equal to 1, 1 or 2. If n is 3, this is not possible. So finally, the conclusion, elementary number theory is used here. So x power n plus y power n equal to 1, n greater than or equal to 3 cannot be rationally parameterized. So this is not a rational curve. By the way, this has deep meaning in surface curves and surfaces, but that I can't explain to you right now.
The time, sir.
It is time anyway. So I will stop here because then you have to start. Please start the tutorial after 15 minutes.